Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. This is State Representative Brad Halbrook with another relentless pursuit of truth, logic, and common sense here on the Illinois Freedom Caucus Roundtable and Town Hall. We got a couple of important topics we want to touch on here this evening. And with that, I'm going to just kick it over to Representative Blaine Wilhauer to give us a welcome from his neighborhood, kind of not all the way Southern Illinois, but kind of Southern Illinois and Southeastern Illinois. Blaine, welcome. What's going on?
Hey, it's great to be here. I'm here from God's country here around Beecher City, Illinois. Beautiful day out today. Look forward to seeing everybody this weekend down in Effingham for the Dinesh D'Souza event. So we're just gearing up here as the Freedom Caucus to get ready to go back into session next month. We've got a lot of things going on, so we'll be definitely continuing to be in touch. So it's good to be here today.
Excellent. Thanks for joining. So let's go to the other side of the state, kind of southwestern Illinois. Representative David Freese, welcome. What's going on?
Well,
David
just
froze up.
Looking forward to the veto session. For better or worse, I hope we take up that the veto really should be a bipartisan bill that was supported on both sides of the aisle. I hope to take that back session.
Yeah, excellent.
That's great.
And with that, let's move to the true Central Illinois, not Peoria, not Bloomington, but the true Central Illinois. You might say Bloomington since that's part of the 88th district. Dan Calkins from Decatur. Dan, what's happening?
Oh, doing well. Out working hard, getting some signatures on petitions. It's good to see everybody. Blaine's one of the hardest working members of the Illinois caucus. Show us your guns there, Blaine. You've been up there putting trusses up and hanging wall and stuff. Good to see you again today. And David, I know you've been busy in court. I'm glad they let you out for this. But we're happy to be here, and this is going to be another big night. And Brad, you've got the slides, so let's get it cranked up.
Let's get going. So here's our first slide. Welcome everyone to our town hall. And with that, if I can figure out how to toggle through these slides. So the first slide is going to touch on one of Illinois' biggest new priorities is the spending on illegal immigration. And let's just kind of go through this, guys. If we want to go Blaine and then David and then Dan, if you guys have any comments on this slide, kind of what's going on in Springfield and Chicago with all the new spending and accelerated spending on the immigration stuff, and any thoughts you may have in and around that.
Yeah, this is typical Illinois politics. Unfortunately, you see the same theme over and over again, these unrealistic policies. At the end of the day, it's one thing to, theoretically support, all of this stuff, being a sanctuary state, inviting all of these illegals here. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay for it. And what you're seeing right now is the politicians up in Chicago who have been clamoring for open borders and, been, bragging about being a sanctuary city for the last, probably 6 to 8 years. Well, the bills are coming due now. The rubber is hitting the road on the unrealistic policies. We see this in every category. We see it in energy. We see it in our tax policy. We see it in everything else. It's time to, insert some good Freedom Caucus common sense into some of these policies. What you're not hearing from these Democrats that are, complaining and getting frantic and spending millions of dollars to try to plug this gap. What you're not hearing is the need to secure the border. Nothing works in this country without securing the southern border. So it'd be nice to hear some Democrats give some thoughts to that, especially now that they're actually seeing this, in their hometown. And it's not going to stop there, guys. If we don't fix this up in Chicago, it's coming our way too. So really big problem.
Yeah. David?
Yeah, we're looking at $1 billion just on healthcare alone for illegal immigrants. That money could be well spent on maybe shoring up our pension systems, which we have a problem with. Wouldn't that be a nice idea? And it's like Blaine said, it's very unfortunate that the Democrats in this state don't talk out about this. I catch the news periodically, and there are Democrats in Texas that are finally speaking up about this. And I heard one today or yesterday talking about, what, we need to send them back to their country of origin. My understanding is 95% of these people, they don't qualify for asylum. That's what they're calling them, asylum seekers. They're in this country illegally. We need to send them back.
Yeah, exactly. Dan, any thoughts?
Well, I think that what we're seeing is exactly what Blaine talked about, and that is we're diverting our limited and precious resources, not just in money, but in people and effort and time that's being spent on all this. Where we've got issues in our own state. We have issues that need to be fixed. I know we've got a lot of money going into roads, but we've got bridges that are in disrepair that we need to think seriously about fixing. We have all of these other issues that $1 billion, and that I think is just scratching the surface. I think it could be as big as $2 billion, $2.5 billion when you go talk about the whole entirety of what we're going to spend on this. It's totally misguided, misdirected, and as David said, almost all of these people, the vast majority of them, when they actually do show up for a hearing, are going to be deported. So, let's get to it. Let's get this process sped up, and let's send the people back that don't belong here, that aren't going to be contributing, to our economy.
Right. Guys, and you're hearing this.
That $1 billion, that's healthcare.
Just in healthcare.
Sorry, but that $1 billion, that's just in healthcare. Like you mentioned, Dan, we've got housing, we've got, we're feeding these individuals because they're actually prohibited from working right now. And I know that bill's going to really hurt at the end of the day when that comes due.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, again, this is accelerated in 4 years from $2 million to 1.1 or $1.2 billion. Chicago just announced a $30 million, just short of a $30 million contract with a tent supplier to put these illegal aliens in kind of winterized tents. And that's in addition to the tens of millions that they started authorizing to be spent on different things in the illegals in the city of Chicago. And we haven't even touched on the federal money that's coming into these sanctuary cities and the like around the nation. So, you guys touched on this earlier. It was cool for Chicago to be a sanctuary state. It was cool for Illinois to be a sanctuary state until they had to put their money where their mouth was. And then the tune kind of changed, right? This was all Greg Abbott's a racist and on and on and on. But I think the fault, guys, and maybe we want to expand upon this. This is at the White House. This is a federal policy coming out of the White House. This is where this needs to be.
Well, but we also, go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an accident. You're exactly right, Brad. This is by design. The Democrats rule through chaos. They really do, and you're going to see that even more with this government shutdown and stuff coming up. They want to expand the chaos as much as possible to, inflict radical policies on us. And the $30 million, that's a pretty good payday if you can get it, right? I think. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be looking into that, exactly where that money's going. And, there's a lot of people that are benefiting financially off of this self-made crisis as well.
Yeah. Dan, as I've been talking out in the last several weeks, knocking on doors, I'm beginning to hear from some school teachers how some of these folks, we're not hearing that they're moving into small communities, but we're seeing some students show up in some of the schools. It's kind of amazing what's happening out there when you get out talking to people and what is really starting to have an effect. They're wondering how they're going to educate these kids. Some of these kids are in their teens and have never been to school yet in their life, and yet they're dropping them into our public schools. All kinds of language stuff. I mean, just a whole lot of issues that are beginning to surface here this fall.
And they don't all speak Spanish. I mean, there's dialects, and there's, they come from different parts of Central and South America.
Right.
And so just because you have a English as a second language instructor doesn't mean that they're able to adequately communicate with these young kids. You know, they don't have that opportunity in their home country to go to school, and so they kind of speak the slang of their neighborhoods, and it's creating a lot of problems in the education system. Just, you know, trying to accommodate these kids, let alone teach them. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a huge story. It's already a big story, but I think going down the road, you know, this $1.3 billion just for healthcare is the tip of the iceberg.
Hey guys, with that, let's get into our next slide. It's kind of got some priorities here of the Illinois Democrats, and probably the biggest breaking story here is the tax credits for the Chinese Communist battery factory that is proposed to be located in Manteno, Illinois, just between Kankakee and Chicago. Guys, this is $536 million, just over $500 million in tax credits. These are Illinois tax dollars that are going to fund a Chinese Communist Party. I think as the onion continues to get peeled back, this story is getting smellier by the day. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, the upfront, I believe, is $125 million. I mean, that's just with no clawback. This is just seed money that our tax money, you know, is going to go for. We're just going to write them a check for $125 million and hope that this all comes true. And then the rest of it has to do with incentives and promises made. I think this is a terrible idea. We're wasting, I think in the end, we'll find out that we're going to be wasting a lot of money, right, of our taxpayer money. And this is business development money that could and should be used for mom and pops. You know, we talk about grocery stores, we talk about retail. We have a lot of things that money could be used for to help, you know, with our local businesses. And for some reason, you know, we're intent on propping up a Chinese government battery factory that has, I think, nefarious undertones. You know, they want to produce these batteries in Illinois. They want to take over the battery production in this country. And then our automotive industry will be held captive to that plant, which is controlled by the Chinese communists. And we're going to have even more problems.
Yeah. I was going to go to Blaine there, but he kind of blacked out. I don't know if he lost he may have fell off the roof there where he was at. But so, you know, guys, this is I think the biggest single deal since the Mitsubishi deal back in the mid 80s there in Bloomington Normal, McLean County. He talked about the $125 million that's coming out of the governor's closing fund. David, I'm not sure, were you there when that bill got passed? I think it was all Democrat votes on that, not a single Republican, and no Republican oversight on where the governor can spend any of this money. So I think the Democrat leaders get to know what's going on, but it appears that the Democrat majority have complete control over this $400 million in this closing fund of where it can be spent, who gets it, and the like. So I guess there's Blaine back. But anyhow, what's you guys' thoughts on $125 million, no Republican oversight? The governor and the two Democrat leaders can just do what they want with this $400 million, of which Goshen, the Chinese Communist Party, gets $125 million of it.
Well, Brad, number one, this all-on government onslaught to prop up EVs is destroying the auto industry. I don't think that we can take that for granted either. It's destroying jobs. You're seeing that play out in the UAW strike over in Michigan and elsewhere right now. But you know, the taxpayer dollars should never go to, you know, prop up a company that's full of people that are closely associated with the Chinese Communist Party. They've got a history of stealing our technology and you know, trying to take over our marketplace. And you know, they can talk all they want about, you know, how Volkswagen or you know, California company is where this place is based, but the Chinese in the Chinese Constitution, it demands, it doesn't ask, it demands the any company doing business in China has to share information, private company information, with the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese military intelligence. So this is a big deal with huge national security implications outside of the fact that it's just bad economics. It's just bad economics. We're so desperate for jobs in this state, and this governor is so desperate for wins on his progressive ideology that he'll put national security at risk to get it. This same deal was proposed in Virginia as well, and Glenn Youngkin and the and the legislature there backed away from it for the very concerns that we have now. So we're not out here on an island.
Right.
Being concerned about this. You may feel like that in Illinois sometimes because things are so backwards, but this is something that's happening all across the nation.
Right. Yeah. And this isn't a situation like we've seen in the past with federal and state tax dollars to where these companies come in and they take the money and run, you know, the Solyndras of the world. This is going to take the money and stay. They're here. They play the long game. The Chinese play the long game, and they're here to stay. They want complete domination in this electrical vehicle manufacturing sector to really put a stranglehold on us down the road. You know, we talked about this the other day, guys. I mean, $536 million, one-time deal. In 2021, the tax credits, the EDGE tax credits, $226 million, half of this amount, went to 223 companies. In 2020, $189 million went to 196 companies. So here we see over double these amounts in the previous years going to one single company. David, I think this is bad business regardless of where you're at in the state, regardless of where you are in the nation. Yeah, I just think it's a bad business. And David is
muted.
He's muted himself out.
Brad, did you talk about the fact that they're literally getting more money and incentives than it's costing to build the plant?
Well, that's not yet, but my understanding is with the federal dollars coming in that it way exceeds the $2 billion estimated plant. Maybe there's estimates of $8 billion. Blaine, if you can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, with the federal dollars, like you said, stacked in on top of the state dollars, they're you know, what is it, $2-3 billion investment supposedly in this plant, and getting upwards of $8 billion to do this. Well, that you know, I would think that somebody would be heavily questioning that, and it's not just on the state level. You know, the federal government needs to get involved. The Biden administration needs to get involved in this, and they need to put an immediate pause on this while these details are worked out. Fortunately, we have some people in Congress, Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, and you know, a group of representatives that's trying to make this happen. But this is very, very important. And you know, like you said earlier, China is playing the long game on this. They're really good at that. You know, look at what they're doing in California and what they're trying to do in Illinois. They're actually making laws that are saying that, you know, combustible engines are going to be outlawed by, you know, 2030, 2040. Well, we do that. And, you know, we've basically allowed the Chinese Communist Party to put a stranglehold on battery production. Then who owns the automotive industry in the United States? And is that good for America?
Right. Yeah. And you touched on this moments ago, Blaine. If you want to go to China and start a company up in China, you have to do a joint venture with a Chinese company. They have the majority stake in it. They stay with you long enough until they've stole all your technology. They open up down the street. They enter the U.S. market themselves, and then you just force you out of business. I mean, and our governor, after 18 failed attempts to bring an EV manufacturer to the state of Illinois, he decides that this company is like, where these guys, where have they been all of our life, right? Why? Yeah. So it's just, we're subsidizing our enemies in this situation, people that want to destroy us and are seeking world domination. And I know maybe some folks are thinking that's tinfoil hat stuff, but the White House just hasn't admitted to it yet. So reason, the only difference. Yeah. Dan?
Oh, no, I think it's pretty well covered. We're going to be talking to the folks from Manteno as well. I think there's issues up there about zoning for this facility. I think there's issues about EPA when you're bringing in lithium and all these very toxic chemicals to make these batteries. What's the, what are they going to have to protect the environment? Let's go right back to the environment. We can't ignore the environment, can we?
Right.
And there's also some issues up there, evidently, when this deal was put together about Open Meeting Act and public engagement. So this isn't just, this is also a concern of the folks in Manteno. And I look forward to having an opportunity to get together with them and hearing their side of this as well.
Exactly. Hey guys, let's bring our closing slide back in. I got a couple things as we kind of wind this down. We could probably talk an hour, and we will kind of continue to dive into this this battery plan and what's going on there. We've talked about the $1 billion plus of illegal immigrant spending, the millions of dollars that are going for out-of-state abortion care. And guys, this is still this topic here. I'm beginning to hear more and more of this at the front door. I don't know what it's like in your neighborhood, but if anybody wants to talk about this lack of desire of the majority party for the Invest in Kids program, it's quite okay to put $500 million into a Chinese company, but when it comes to investing in our own kids, guys, the priority of the majority party in Springfield's not there. Does anybody want to weigh in on this one?
Oh, it's pretty clear, Brad. You hit the nail on the head. It's about priorities. We can do billions of dollars for legal immigration, but we can't do, a few million for the Invest in Kids program, who has 20,000 kids on a waiting list for this successful program that it's actually spending less tax dollars to educate kids in a better way. And that's the thing. This program is extremely successful. Like I said, there's a big waiting period on it. The only thing that keeps this program from being funded is not even really the right word, because it's mostly funded by private citizens. But the only thing that's keeping it sunsetting is because the powerful teachers unions in the state don't like it, because they don't like competition. Right. And they've got a stranglehold on way too many politicians in this state. And we're going to continue to bring heat and bring light on this issue. And I'm confident that we're going to get something done in the veto session, because like you said, I think that we've hit this enough to where the people around the state, the citizens, are standing up and starting to say, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. David, any thoughts on Democrat majority party priorities? I don't know if your microphone's back or not. I'm not sure it is. All right. Hey, let's talk about this event. Oh, I get my slide pulled back up here. So this Friday night, this Friday night, Effingham, Illinois, this will be the place to be. Let's just say in all of Illinois. Dinesh D'Souza returns to Illinois after being gone for 2 years. Many of you have maybe seen 2,000 Mules. He's going to roll out a new movie. We'll play a trailer on that Friday night called Police State. Tickets are still available. You can go to the website, scan that QR code, IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org/events. And we have another town hall. Please put this on your calendar. I'm going to see, I think the date is just a touch covered up there. See if I can change this around so we can see that better. October 7th in Marion. And the last slide, where you can find us, IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org. And if you want to help us contribute to the cause, there's a place to do it. And with that, gentlemen, closing comments. David, if your microphone's back, let's close this out, and then we'll go David, Dan, and Blaine, and then we'll be done for this evening. I don't think he's back yet.
No volume.
Dan, maybe you can cover for David. You can read his lips and tell us what's on his mind.
He says, join us. Go ahead, say it again. Join us Friday night in Effingham. Okay, I got that. We look forward to seeing you there. It's great. Brad, thanks for putting this together. Colin, and the slides is great.
Yeah.
Everybody, come join us. I think it's going to be a great night Friday night. We look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. 6 o'clock. Blaine, your thoughts?
Hey guys, you know, this is what it's all about. This is why we do this. We need your help and your support. You're the ones who got the train on this. We are out there a lot of times alone, being a voice in the wilderness on these important issues, like invest in kids, like the Goshen plant in this going on in northern Illinois. You know, and without your support, we can't do this. We're leading the charge on this type of stuff. So get out there and support us. Love to see you on Friday night, and then down in southern Illinois.
Right.
See you
exactly.
soon.
Exactly. Thank you guys. You guys make this look easy and really help without a doubt to the content. And to that point, everybody out there, as always, we would like and covet that you would like and share and follow and subscribe to our comment. That helps us overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords. And with that, stay with us, stay tuned in, and we hope to see us Friday night in Effingham. Have a good evening.